I had no view whatsoever.
When you said Reardon had a more realistic view of the meeting, can you explain what you meant?
Well, Reardon's mail says, maybe I'm being a dick, but there's no deal here. If we are smart, deft, and engaged at the right levels, we have a chance to cooperate on a few of these smaller things. So, usually if you have two people that go to a meeting, and one comes back and says, it looks great, and the other comes back and says, it doesn't look good, my business experience is the person who says that it doesn't look good is probably the one who has the most accurate view of the meeting, particularly when you're dealing with Thomas Reardon and Dan Rosen.
So you thought that Reardon's view of how the meeting went was likely or the more accurate one?
In the sense that it didn't look like much would come out of it, yes.
Do you recall, as you sit here today, apart from just reading these emails, anything that was reported back to you by any of the participants from Microsoft at this June 21st meeting?
Well, I think somewhere about this time somebody said to me that asked if it made sense for us to consider investing in Netscape, and I said that didn't make sense to me. I didn't see that as something that made sense.
Do you recall who said that to you?
Would have been probably suggested in a piece of email from Dan, I think.
Do you recall when you got that suggestion, whether it was before or after the meeting?
Oh, it would have been after the meeting.
Do you recall anything else that anyone told you back in June 95 about the meeting?
No.
Did you personally devote time, Mr. Gates, to studying Netscape and trying to determine what their sources of revenue were?
In what time frame are we talking about?
Well, do you recall doing that at all?
I personally didn't make any study of it, but I know that in late 95, when we reviewed a bunch of different competitors, one of those was Netscape, and there was some revenue analysis done as part of that.
So what I want to ask you about is Exhibit 353. And this is the December 1st, 1996 email from you to Mr. Nehru. Examination has some bugs in it. Work off that one now. All right. Do you recall asking Mr. Nehru near about December 1996 to collect for you information about Netscape revenues?
No.
Do you recall sending this email on or about December 1st, 1996 to Mr. Nehru?
No.
Do you recall receiving from Mr. Nehru the attached email dated November 27, 1996?
From time to time, we do reviews of various competitors, and at least one point in time, Netscape was one of the people that we looked at. So it doesn't surprise me, but I don't remember it specifically.
Okay. On the second page of the exhibit, which is part of Mr. Nehru's November 27, 1996 email. He talks about browsers.
What page?
Page 2.
Okay.
He identifies their sources of Netscape's revenue. He says browser revenue for the quarter amounted to $45 million, a 32% increase over the last quarter, representing 60% of total Netscape revenue. Do you have any reason to doubt the accuracy of the information reported there?
Well, I know that Mr. Nehru didn't work for Netscape, so I'm sure he didn't have access to the figures directly. If you're interested in that, you should ask Netscape.
Mm-hmm. Was this the best information you had in December 1996 as to the proportion of Netscape's revenue that was derived from the browsers?
I don't know.
Do you recall receiving any other information on that subject?
I might have seen an analyst report.
I see the May 1996.
Well, it says here we're 70% confident about our numbers.
Do you recall why it was in this time frame you had asked Mr. Nehru to collect this information for you?
I don't think I did. I already told you that.
You have no recollection of asking for this information?
I'm quite certain I wasn't the one who asked for the information.
Do you have any recollection as to who did?
Perhaps Steve.
Steve being Steve Ballmer.
Mm-hmm.
In your memo here, strike that, in your email here, you say, what kind of data do we have about how much software companies paid Netscape? Do you recall asking that question to Mr. Nehru in or about December 1996?
It looks like I sent him that question after he sent out one of these competitive analysis reports.
Do you recall, do you have any reason to believe you didn't ask him for this information on December 1st, 1996?
No, wait a minute. Now, you're confusing two things. There's the information here enclosed, which I didn't ask him for, and that's what you've been asking me about earlier.
No.
Then there's the question here in my email. I have no idea if he ever responded to that, but that question certainly looks like came from me. But that's different than...
I understand. I'm not confused. Let me see if I can straighten the record out here. Your testimony, as I understand it, is you believe that in all likelihood the information initially collected by Mr. Nehru was sought by Mr. Ballmer. Is that right?
I know it wasn't. I'm pretty sure it wasn't me who asked for it to be.
And then you got this email from Mr. Nehru, and you in turn asked him what kind of data do we have about how much software companies pay Netscape. Is that right?
That's part of the email I sent to him. It looks like, yes.
Okay. I'd like to mark as Exhibit 354 an email from Mr. Gates to various people dated May 19, 1996. And the subject is some thoughts on Netscape.
Oh, sorry.